Okay, so let's look at the four. There are a number, I think it's about 7 different, there could be more.
Yeah, 7.
There's 7 blood sugar hormones and neurotransmitters, but we focus on these 4 key ones because we think they're super interesting. Now, insulin is whenever we eat a carbohydrate, our body releases insulin in response to that carbohydrate to be able to deal with that glucose in the blood and to keep it managed. And there is a very interesting connection between levels of insulin and testosterone levels. Just one moment. And so what we see, and I'm going to come on to a slide in a minute with the looking at insulin resistance, is that when we have a lot of blood glucose and we've got a lot of sugar in the blood, we have high levels of insulin, and this affects levels of testosterone. So in women, we see that when there's these high levels of insulin, we get high levels of testosterone. This is where we're starting to see conditions like PCOS. And with men, it's the opposite. And if there is high levels of insulin because of the glucose in the blood, then there is going to be higher levels of estrogen and lower levels of testosterone. And this has a massive knock-on effect with our sex drive. The next one is ghrelin. Ghrelin is, we like to think of it as the gremlins. It is our rumbling tummy. It's the hormone that we produce when we're hungry. There's some really interesting studies that show that mice receiving ghrelin had increased sexual activity, and those who had ghrelin inhibitors actually had decreased sexual activity. So clearly, when you're hungry for food, you're also hungry for sex.
What was it you always called it? Ham season.
It is absolutely ham season. When your partner looks like a giant cartoon ham. Delicious. Leptin is the blood sugar hormone that triggers that we are full. And when we are constantly eating, when we're constantly grazing, then we can get something called leptin resistance, where leptin is no longer sensitive to the messages that are coming from the body. And this lowers testosterone. And then we've got cholecystokinin. Cholecystokinin is an interesting one. It can increase and suppress, depending on the person, our desire to eat. I'm so interested in this, that the appetite for food is so deeply linked with appetite for sex. And you can link this into the blood sugar hormones. So I think that is super interesting.